my friends, good to see you. Felt like getting my jig on today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to build a little quick shop jig here that I've found helpful, and I hope you guys like it too. If you don't, I'm sorry, but I sure hope you do. Hope y'all like this. Let me get at it. Good to see you, my friends. Alright, my friends, starting out here, I've got two pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. And for mine, I cut them 20 inches long by 6 inches wide. That is not critical. It does not have to be those lengths or those widths. Those are just what I chose, and you'll see why. Guys, I'm screwing them together temporarily. Not permanently. Temporarily. Alright, my friends, I've got my board here, 6 inch by 20 inch, temporarily screwed together. What I've done is I've set my fence in the middle of the board at 3 inches, and this is not critical. I'm just going the middle because that's the most logical place. I've marked the center of the board at 10 inches, came back 2.5 and 2.5, leaving 5 inches, and then I've came back 5 inches and 5 inches, leaving a 10-inch span. These are just the distances I'm choosing. The 5 inches is not critical either. It could be 6, it could be 4, it could be 2. It all just makes a difference how wide of a board you can use. Alright, so from my experience, I'm going to go with a 5-inch spread and a 10-inch spread. I need a centering pin. A centering pin is going to make this jig very quick to set up every time. What I'm using is just a spare ratchet extension that I've got. The shaft on this one and on most of the size are exactly 3/8 of an inch. So I've put a 3-inch drill bit into my drill. And I'll explain why I'm going to use a center bit here and a centering bit here just in a wee. Y'all hang tight. Alright guys, I've got my centering bit in the drill, and that will line my jig up every time, right in the center, right where I want it. Hold it in place with the drill stops and set my fence. Every time. Not that I even need to use the fence. And again, I'll explain. Alright, my friends, remember I need these holes to be exactly in line. So I put my centering pin in to line up the center of the drill. So my center's the same. My 5 inches has to be exactly 2.5 from center to 2.5 from center. I can't be off. So I'm going to pay real close attention to make sure I've got it center. And my drill bit's a little dull, so if you see some smoking, it's not me. It's the drill bit. Dead on. Alright guys, now I'm going to take it apart. Don't need to mark top and bottom. My screw holes will tell me top and bottom. Alright guys, I went ahead and changed my bottom board. The reason I have a bottom board is to keep from getting tear out when I come through my top board. A little old trick everybody knows, but it was sticking out too far from my clamps. So, I changed it. Alright guys, now we're going to glue it and screw it together. I marked the top of my dolls black, guys, so I'd know what's the top and where they get inserted into the holes. I'm going to put a little Johnson's wax on them because they have to be removable. Top's black. Block lined up in my centering jig, because that's what's important, my friends. You can get your fence lined up nice and straight and lock it in place with your fence, but it's totally unnecessary on a drill press. It doesn't matter if your fence is crooked a little bit or not. All that matters is that center. Whether this is sitting like this, sitting like this, it's still gonna drill the center. So don't always be so concerned on measurements and making sure this is perfectly straight. I could just as easily mount it crooked, and it's the exact same setup. It's long as it's center. And I should probably do that off camera because it takes so darn long. I do not like these clamps very much. Long as you line your center up with your center of your bit. That's why I made the centering pin. The outer holes are for a larger board. It will do the same thing. The way I've got it set, I've got my clamps in the way, but it's just for demonstration purposes. You'll always get the center of the board. You don't have to measure it. With your fence off the back, your run is endless, either direction, or coming this way. Coming this way, I've got my clamps in the way. So I'd have to reconfigure my clamps a little bit. No matter how wide the board. That's why I put two pegs a little farther apart. It'll get the center of the board every time. Look. Center of the board every time. Dead center of the board. Dead center of the board. Focus, you silly camera. Alrighty guys, I swapped out my clamps. I found these were wanting to push on my jig sideways or forward and back when I tighten them down. If you don't get the bolt on a perfectly straight angle, and even on a straight angle, sorry, even on a straight angle, I find that they were wanting to push my jig. So I swapped out my clamps to these here. Right in the center. Every time. Dead center. Dead center. Alright, my friends, there's a lot of ways you can drill holes in the center of a board. You can do it without a jig like that. You could simply measure and set up your fence and line it up straight along your fence. But you've got to go back and forth and make sure you've got the middle. And then if you're doing two different size boards, set it up again. And that's where I find that little jig to be helpful. So, I hope y'all do too. Your holes will always come out dead center every time. As long as your board is straight and even, that is. So, give it a try, see what you think. Let me know how it works for you, my friends. And I hope y'all like it. See you in a bit now. I'll be back. I promise. Okay. That was a lot of that was a lot of fun to make. You can use other. Oh, for the love of money.